At the end of the century before last, in the market square of the city of Baltis, there stood a boy with a hat on his head and a coin in his hand. The boy's name was Peter Augustus Duchesne, and the coin which he held did not belong to him, but was instead the property of his guardian, an old soldier named Vilna Lutz, who had sent the boy to the market for fish and bread. That day, in the market square, in the midst of the entirely unremarkable and absolutely ordinary stalls of the fishmongers and cloth merchants and bakers and silversmiths, there had appeared without warning or fanfare the red tent of a fortune-teller. Attached to the fortune-teller's tent was a piece of paper, and pinned upon the paper in a cramped and unapologetic hand were these words: "The most profound and difficult questions that could possibly be posed by the human mind or heart will be answered within for the price of 1 floret." The audacity of this statement, the dizzying promise of it, stopped Peter in his tracks. He read the small sign once and then again. He looked down at the coin, the single floret in his hand. "But I cannot do it," he said to himself. "Truly I cannot. For if I do, Vilna Lutz will ask where the money has gone, and I will have to lie, and it is a very dishonorable thing to lie." He put the coin in his pocket. He took the soldier's hat off his head and then put it back on. He stepped away from the sign and came back to it and stood considering again the outrageous and wonderful words. "But I must know," he said at last. He took the floret from his pocket. "I want to know the truth, and so I will do it. But I will not lie about it, and in that way I will remain at least partly honorable." With these words, Peter stepped into the tent and handed the fortune-teller the coin. And she, without even looking at him, said, "1 floret will buy you 1 answer, and only one. Do you understand?" "Yes," said Peter. He stood in the small patch of light, making its sullen way through the open flap of the tent. He let the fortune-teller take his hand. She examined it closely, moving her eyes back and forth, as if there were a whole host of very small words inscribed there, an entire book about Peter Augustus Duchesne composed atop his palm. "Huh," she said at last. She dropped his hand and squinted up at his face. "But of course you are just a boy." "I am 10 years old," said Peter. He took the hat from his head and stood in straight and tall as he was able. "And I am training to become a soldier, brave and true. But it does not matter how old I am. You took the floret, so now you must give me my answer." "A soldier, brave and true," said the fortune-teller. She laughed and spat on the ground. "Very well, soldier, brave and true. If you say it is so, then it is so. Ask me your question." Peter felt a small stab of fear. What if, after all this time, he could not bear the truth? What if he did not really want to know? "Speak," said the fortune-teller. "Ask." "My parents," said Peter. "That is your question," said the fortune-teller. "They are dead." Peter's hands trembled. "That is not my question," he said. "I know that already. You must tell me something that I do not know. You must tell me of another. You must tell me—" The fortune-teller narrowed her eyes. "Ah," she said. "Her. Your sister? That is your question? Very well. She lives."